Captain Veltar pressed his feathered hand against the cold metal wall of his ship's bridge. The peaceful horizon shook again as another blast hit their shields. Red warning lights flashed all around him and smoke filled the air. His crew of 12 ran between broken control panels trying to fix what they could. "Shield power at 15%, called out his first officer, Kethra. Her voice was high and scared, like a bird caught in a storm. "We cannot take much more of this." Veltar looked at the main screen. 3 large warships surrounded his small trading vessel. They were black and covered in spikes like the thorns on a deadly plant. The ships belonged to the Vorthak Collective, a group of aliens who took what they wanted by force. "Why are they attacking us?" whispered Jenka, the youngest crew member. "We are just traders. We carry food and medicine to the outer worlds." Veltar knew why. The Vorthak did not care about right or wrong. They saw a weak ship with valuable cargo and they took it. This was how things worked in this part of space. The strong took from the weak and the weak died or became slaves. Another blast hit them. This time something important broke. The lights went out for a moment, then came back dim and flickering. Veltar felt the ship's engines stop working. They were now floating helpless in space like a leaf in a pond. "Engines are dead," reported Kethra. "Life support is failing. We have maybe 2 hours of air left." Veltar closed his eyes. His people, the Kethmar, were peaceful traders who flew between the stars selling goods and sharing stories. They were not fighters. Their hollow bones made them light and fast, but also weak. One good hit from a Vorthak weapon could kill them. "Should we surrender?" asked another crew member. "The Vorthak do not take prisoners," Veltar said quietly. "They will take our cargo and leave us to die in space. Or worse, they will sell us as slaves." The communication system crackled to life. A deep, rough voice spoke in the common space language. "Small ship, this is Admiral Krextha of the Vorthak Collective. Your ship is now our property. Prepare to be boarded. Do not resist and your death will be quick." Veltar's crew looked at him with fear in their large, dark eyes. They were traders, not soldiers. They had no weapons except for a few small emergency blasters that could barely hurt a space rat. "Captain," Kethra said softly, "should we send a distress call?" Veltar thought about this. In the civilized parts of space, distress calls worked. Other traders or government ships would come to help, or at least try to negotiate with attackers. But they were far from civilized space now, in the wild areas where only the strong survived. "Who would come?" he asked sadly. "The Federation Navy is days away. The Trade Guild has no ships this far out. Any ship that hears our call will either ignore it or be too scared to help." "But we have to try," Jenka said. "Maybe someone will hear us. Maybe someone will care." Veltar looked at his young crew member. She still believed in the goodness of others even now when death was so close. Maybe that belief was worth something even if it would not save them. "Very well," he said. "Send the call on all frequencies. Tell anyone who listens that we are traders under attack. Tell them we carry medicine for sick children on the outer worlds." Kethra worked at her broken console, trying to boost their communication power. "The transmitter is damaged, but I can send a basic message. It will not reach far, but maybe someone in nearby systems will hear it." She typed the message in simple words. "This is Trading Ship Peaceful Horizon. We are under attack by Vorthak raiders. Engines destroyed. Life support failing. Carrying medical supplies for civilian populations. Request immediate assistance. Please help us." The message went out into space, traveling at the speed of light toward distant stars. Veltar did not expect an answer. In his experience, the galaxy was full of people who looked the other way when others suffered. It was easier to pretend bad things did not happen than to risk your own life helping strangers. Far away, in a solar system that most galactic maps did not even show, the message was received by a listening post on a small moon. The beings who got the message were different from most species in the galaxy. They came from a world of storms and earthquakes, where giant predators hunted in dark forests and vast oceans tried to drown anyone brave enough to sail them. These beings had learned long ago that when someone called for help, you answered. Not because you expected a reward, but because it was the right thing to do. Their ancestors had survived by helping each other against a hostile world, and this lesson was written deep in their genes. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim read the message 3 times. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much war. Around him, his staff worked at their computers in the command center of Luna Station, Earth's main military base on the moon. "Sir," said Commander So Young Park, "we have a distress call from the Outer Rim. Unknown species under attack by something called the Vorthak Collective. Distance? Kim asked. 18 light years. We could get there in 4 days if we push the engines hard. Kim studied the star map. That area of space was marked as unexplored on human charts. Humanity was still new to space travel compared to most alien races. They had only been flying between stars for about 50 years. What do we know about these Vorthak? Kim asked. Nothing, sir. First time we have heard that name. Same with the species sending the distress call. They call themselves Kethmar. Captain Jamin Lee, the diplomatic officer, spoke up. Sir, this could be a trap. We do not know these aliens or their conflicts. Getting involved could start a war we are not ready for. Kim nodded. Lee was right to be careful. Humanity had made some alien friends and some alien enemies since reaching the stars. They had learned that space politics were complicated and dangerous, but then Kim read the message again. The part about medical supplies for sick children made him think of his own granddaughter back on Earth. She was safe and healthy, but somewhere in the dark of space, other children might die if these medicines did not reach them. Prep the 7th Battle Group, Kim ordered. Ships indomitable, relentless, and defiant. Full combat load, sir? Lee looked surprised. We are sending warships? Someone is shooting at a medical supply ship, Kim said simply. That makes them pirates in my book. And we know how to deal with pirates. The human ships began to move, their crews working quickly to prepare for battle. They did not know they were about to introduce humanity to the wider galaxy. They only knew that somewhere in the darkness, innocent people needed help. And humans always answered such calls. Admiral Krextha stood on the bridge of his flagship Bloodfang, watching his raiders tear apart the Federation trading ship. The Vorthak were large, powerful beings covered in thick gray skin and sharp teeth. Their hands ended in claws that could rip through metal, and their eyes glowed red in the darkness of space. How much longer until the cargo is secured? Krextha asked his lieutenant. Another hour, Admiral. The cargo holds are full of valuable medicines and food. The crew has stopped fighting back. They hide in their quarters like scared prey animals. Krextha smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. This was easy hunting. The Kethmar were typical of most spacefaring species, soft, weak, and afraid of violence. They had evolved on peaceful worlds where the biggest danger was maybe a storm or a small earthquake. They did not understand real violence. The Vorthak were different. They came from a world of endless war, where tribes fought each other for scraps of food and drops of water. Only the strongest survived to have children. This made them natural conquerors in a galaxy full of weak prey species. Admiral, called out the communications officer, we are receiving a transmission from an unknown ship. Put it on the main screen, Krextha ordered. He expected to see another weak trader begging for mercy, or maybe a Federation patrol ship asking for negotiations. Instead, he saw something strange. The alien on the screen had smooth skin without scales or feathers. Its eyes were small and set forward like a predator, and it spoke in a calm, steady voice that suggested it was not afraid. This is Captain Minho Choi of the Terran warship Indomitable. You will stop your attack on the civilian vessel and leave this area immediately. Krextha laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Terran? I have never heard of your species. This is Vorthak space now. Leave, or we will add your ship to our collection. The human captain's face did not change expression. I will ask one more time. Stop your attack and withdraw. This is your only warning. Warning, Krextha roared. Do you see how many ships I have? 3 heavy raiders against your single vessel. You cannot win this fight, little alien. Then let us show you how Terrans fight, Captain Choi replied calmly. The transmission ended. Krextha turned to his tactical officer. Where is this human ship? Approaching fast, Admiral, very fast. They are not slowing down. What do you mean, not slowing down? Sir, they are coming straight at us at combat speed. No course correction. It looks like they plan to ram us. Krextha stared at the tactical display. Most species fought space battles like ancient duels. Approach slowly, exchange threats, then fight at a safe distance with shields and energy weapons. Ramming was considered barbaric and stupid. They must be bluffing, he decided. No captain would sacrifice his ship like that. Hail them again. But before his communications officer could respond, something impossible happened. A beam of pure energy lanced out from the human ship, covering a distance that should have been impossible to shoot across accurately. The beam did not hit his flagship. It hit one of his raider ships. The Vorthak raider simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next it was expanding cloud of glowing gas and twisted metal. The explosion was so bright that the bridge lights automatically dimmed to protect their eyes. What was that weapon? Krextha demanded. Unknown, sir. Some kind of kinetic projectile moving at incredible speed. Our sensors could barely track it. 2 more beams reached out from the human ship. 2 more Vorthak raiders died instantly. Now Krextha was facing 3 human ships. He had been so focused on the first one that he had not noticed the other 2 arriving. All ships, return fire, he ordered. The remaining Vorthak ships turned their weapons on the humans. Plasma cannons and missile launchers sent death racing across space. But the human ships moved like nothing Krextha had ever seen. They twisted and spun, avoiding shots that should have been impossible to dodge. How are they moving like that? He asked his tactical officer. Unknown, sir. The G-forces from those maneuvers should kill any crew inside. No living being can survive acceleration like that. But the humans were not only surviving, they were fighting back with deadly precision. Their weapons were different from anything in the galactic databases. Instead of energy beams or explosive missiles, they fired solid projectiles at tremendous speed. Each shot was perfectly aimed. Each shot killed a ship. In less than 10 minutes, half of Krextha's fleet was destroyed or badly damaged. The humans had not lost a single vessel. Admiral, his communications officer called out. The human captain is hailing us again. Captain Minho Choi appeared on the screen. His uniform was neat and clean, as if he had not just been in a deadly battle. Behind him, his crew worked calmly at their stations. Admiral Krextha, you will order your remaining ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that tries to escape will be destroyed. Krextha felt something he had not experienced in years. Fear. These humans fought like apex predators, with no wasted motion and no mercy for their enemies. But they also seemed to follow some kind of honor code, giving warnings before attacking. What do you want from us? He asked. First, we want the crew of that trading ship safe and unhurt. Second, we want to understand why you attacked a vessel carrying medical supplies. Third, we want to make sure this does not happen again. And if we refuse? Captain Choi's expression did not change. Then we will disable your engines and life support, and leave you floating in space until you reconsider. Your choice. Krextha looked around his bridge. His officers waited for orders, but he could see doubt in their eyes. They had never faced an enemy like this, beings who combined advanced technology with a willingness to use overwhelming violence to protect others. Stand down weapons, he ordered quietly, as human boarding parties prepared to secure his ships. Krextha wondered what kind of species humanity was. They fought with the skill of born killers, but they used that skill to protect the weak instead of conquering them. On the human ship Defiant, Captain Yoonji Woo coordinated rescue operations with the damaged Federation vessel. Her medical teams were already working to help injured Kethmar crew members, while human engineers studied the alien ship's systems. Captain Veltar, Woo said through the communication link, we are sending over medical supplies and engineering teams. Can your life support hold out a little longer? Yes, but why are you helping us? Veltar asked. We are strangers to you. You owe us nothing. Captain Woo smiled. Because you asked for help and we were close enough to give it. That is what decent people do. The concept was so simple that it confused the Kethmar captain. In his experience, help always came with a price. Nothing was free in the galaxy. But these humans seemed different. They had arrived with warships, but they used those weapons to protect rather than conquer. They asked for nothing in return except the safety of innocent beings. As human medics worked to save Kethmar lives, and human engineers repaired alien technology they had never seen before, Veltar began to understand that his people had just met something new in the galaxy. They had met Deathworlders with hearts. Lieutenant Commander Hyejin Seo watched the tactical display as human boarding teams moved through the captured Vorthak ships. The operation was going smoothly, too smoothly for her comfort. She had learned to be suspicious when things seemed easy. Ma'am, reported Sergeant Dongwoo Kim over the communication link. We have secured the Vorthak flagship. No resistance. The crew is cooperating fully. Any injuries on our side? None, ma'am. The Vorthak seem confused by our tactics. They keep asking when we are going to execute their officers or enslave their crew. Hyejin frowned. That was an odd question. Human military doctrine was clear. Prisoners were to be treated according to the rules of war, which meant basic dignity and medical care. Sergeant, patch me through to the Vorthak Admiral. A moment later, Admiral Krextha appeared on her screen. The alien looked tired and defeated, but also puzzled. His red eyes studied her carefully as if she were a dangerous animal he did not understand. "You are in command of the boarding teams?" he asked. "I am Lieutenant Commander SEO of the Terran Defense Fleet. My teams have secured your ships without casualties on either side. Your wounded are receiving medical attention. Why have you not killed my officers? Why are your medics helping my crew?" The question surprised Hyejin. "Because that is what civilized beings do. We do not murder prisoners or let wounded beings suffer." Krextha stared at her for a long moment. "You are either very naive or very confident." "Which is it?" "Neither. We are practical. Dead prisoners cannot give us information. Healthy prisoners are less likely to cause trouble. And we are not monsters. But you destroyed 6 of my ships in minutes. Your weapons are more powerful than anything in our fleet. You could have demanded our surrender from the beginning." "We gave you the chance to surrender from the beginning," Hyejin reminded him. "You chose to fight instead. That was your mistake, not ours." Captain Minho Choi's voice came over the communication system. "Commander CO, please report to the bridge." "We have visitors." Hyejin made her way through the corridors of the Indomitable to the bridge. There she found Captain Choi speaking with a group of aliens she had never seen before. They were tall and thin, with feathered skin and large dark eyes. Their movements were quick and nervous like birds. "Commander," Choi said, "I would like you to meet Captain Veltar and his crew from the Federation trading vessel. They wanted to thank us personally." The alien captain stepped forward and made a complex gesture with his hands. "Commander Seo, I am Captain Veltar of the Kethmar people. You and your crew have saved our lives. We are in your debt." "No debt needed," Hyejin replied. "We were glad to help. But we must ask, why did you come?" "We sent our distress call into empty space, not expecting anyone to answer." "Your ships were not in the area by accident," Captain Choi answered. "Admiral Kim received your distress call at our lunar station. When he learned that raiders were attacking a medical supply ship, he ordered the fleet to respond. But you did not know us. You had never heard of our species before today. Why risk your lives for strangers?" Hyejin exchanged glances with Captain Choi. The question seemed simple to them, but clearly the answer was not obvious to these aliens. "Because it was the right thing to do," she said finally. "You were in trouble. You asked for help. We were able to help. Everything else is just details." Captain Veltar looked confused. "But the risk to yourselves? The cost of fuel and supplies? The possibility that we were criminals deserving our fate? We evaluated the risk and decided it was acceptable," Choi explained. "As for the cost, protecting innocent life is never a waste of resources. And if you had been criminals, we would have dealt with that problem too." "How?" "The same way we dealt with the Vorthak. Quickly and efficiently." Dr. Kyungmin Young, the fleet's xenobiologist, had been listening to the conversation. She stepped forward with a data pad in her hands. "Captain Veltar, may I ask you some questions about your species' evolution? I am trying to understand the cultural differences we are seeing here." "Of course, Doctor. Your people evolved from what type of creatures?" "We are descended from herd animals that lived in the great grasslands of our homeworld. Our ancestors survived by staying together in large groups and watching for danger. And when danger came, we would scatter and regroup at a safe distance. Speed and numbers were our protection, not fighting." Dr. Yang nodded and made notes on her pad. "And the Vorthak?" Admiral Krextha, who had been brought to the bridge under guard, answered. "We are apex predators from a harsh world. Our ancestors survived by hunting in packs and fighting for territory. Only the strongest earned the right to reproduce." "Interesting," Dr. Yang said. "And humans evolved as persistence hunters on a world with extreme weather, natural disasters, and large predators. We survived by working together against hostile environments." "What does this mean?" asked Captain Veltar. "It means we have different instincts," Hyejin explained. "When your people see danger, you want to run away and hide. When the Vorthak see weakness, they want to attack and conquer. When humans see someone in trouble, we want to fix the problem. Even if the problem is not yours? Especially then. Our ancestors learned that today's stranger might be tomorrow's ally. Helping others helps ourselves in the long run." Admiral Krextha laughed bitterly. "Such thinking would have gotten your ancestors killed on our world." "Maybe," Choi admitted. "But our world taught us something different. It taught us that cooperation makes everyone stronger, while endless fighting makes everyone weaker. So you fight to protect peace. We fight to protect innocent life. Peace is just a happy side effect. Captain Veltar was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he asked, "What will you do with Admiral Krextha and his crew?" "We will turn them over to the proper authorities," Choi said. "The Federation Council can decide their punishment for piracy and attempted murder. And if there are no proper authorities in this region of space, then we will make sure they understand that attacking civilians is no longer acceptable behavior." One way or another, Admiral Krextha studied the humans carefully. "You would hunt down every raider ship in this sector? There are hundreds of them scattered across dozens of star systems." "If that is what it takes," Heejin said simply, "you cannot police the entire galaxy." "We do not need to police the entire galaxy. We just need to make it clear that attacking innocents will bring swift and overwhelming retaliation. Word will spread, and if it does not," Captain Choi smiled grimly, "then we will keep teaching the lesson until it is learned." As the human ships prepared to escort their prisoners back to Federation space, Captain Veltar asked one final question. "What do humans want from the galaxy? Territory? Resources? Trade agreements?" Heejin thought about her answer carefully. She thought about her family back on Earth, her friends in the fleet, and the children who would grow up in the universe they were helping to shape. "We want to live in a galaxy where distress calls get answered," she said, "where the strong protect the weak instead of preying on them, where our children can travel between the stars without fear. And you believe you can create such a galaxy? We believe we have to try." As the human fleet began its journey back to Federation space, word of the battle spread through subspace communications. Pirates and raiders across the sector heard the same message. There was a new species in the galaxy, and they had very different rules about how civilized beings should behave. Some of the pirates decided to find easier prey in distant systems. Others decided to test these new humans and see how serious they were about protecting innocents. They would soon learn that humans were always serious about protecting innocents. The prisoner transport ship Swift Justice carried Admiral Krextha and his surviving crew toward Federation space. Unlike most prison ships, this one was clean and comfortable. The human guards were polite but watchful. The food was good, and medical care was provided to anyone who needed it. This confused the Vorthak prisoners more than anything else. "I do not understand these humans," muttered Commander Vexlar, Krextha's second in command. "They defeat us in battle, capture us, and then treat us better than we treat our own crew." Admiral Krextha sat quietly in his cell, thinking. The cell was not like Vorthak prisons, no chains, no torture devices, no starvation. Just a small room with a bed, a desk, and books to read. The humans even provided entertainment videos and news broadcasts from across the galaxy. A soft knock came at his door. Lieutenant Dong-hyun Park, one of the human guards, entered with a tray of food. "Good morning, Admiral. I brought your breakfast." "Why do you treat us so well?" Krextha asked. "Your people know we would not do the same for you." Lieutenant Park set down the tray and considered the question. He was young for a human, but his eyes held the steady look of someone who had seen combat. "My grandmother once told me that how you treat your enemies says more about you than how you treat your friends," he said finally. "We want to be the kind of people who do the right thing, even when it would be easier to do wrong. But we are killers. We have destroyed Federation ships and enslaved their crews. Why show us mercy? Because everyone deserves a chance to change. And because treating prisoners badly makes us more like the enemies we fight against." After the lieutenant left, Krextha found himself thinking about the human's words. On his homeworld, mercy was seen as weakness. The strong took what they wanted and the weak suffered. But these humans seemed to believe that strength came from protecting others, not conquering them. Several days later, the transport ship arrived at Kepler Station, a large Federation outpost near the core worlds. Captain Veltar and his crew were there to give testimony about the attack. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim had also come to observe the proceedings. The Federation Council chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species. Most were herbivores or omnivores from peaceful worlds. Their ideas of justice focused on rehabilitation and understanding. Not punishment. Council leader Zephron, an elderly being with blue skin and 4 arms, called the session to order. "We are here to determine the fate of the Vorthak raiders who attacked the trading vessel Peaceful Horizon. Captain Veltar, please tell us what happened." Veltar stood and recounted the attack in detail. His voice shook when he described how close his crew had come to death. When he finished, there was angry muttering from the council members. "Admiral Krextha," Zephyron said, "do you dispute any of these facts?" Krextha had been given the choice to represent himself or accept a Federation lawyer. He chose to speak for himself. "I do not dispute the facts. My ships attacked the Federation vessel. We intended to steal their cargo and leave the crew to die. This is what my people do. This is what we have always done. And you feel no remorse for this?" Krextha thought carefully before answering. 3 weeks ago I would have felt no remorse. We are predators. Predators do not feel sorry for their prey. And now I have seen another way. The humans defeated us completely, but they did not gloat over their victory. They did not torture us for information. They treated our wounded and fed our hungry. They showed us that strength can be used to protect instead of destroy. Council leader Zephyron looked surprised. "Are you saying you wish to change your ways?" "I am saying that maybe there is more to strength than taking what you want. Maybe real strength is knowing when not to take it." Admiral Kim stood up. "Council leader, may I speak?" "Of course, Admiral. Your ships rescued the Federation vessel. Your testimony is important. Thank you. I want the Council to understand something about the situation in the Outer Rim territories. The Vorthak are not the only raiders out there. Our intelligence suggests there are dozens of pirate groups operating beyond Federation space. What do you recommend we do about this problem? The Federation Navy is too small and spread too thin to patrol such a large area effectively. But humanity is willing to help. We can establish joint patrols with Federation forces. We can share our technology and training methods." Council member Velana, a representative from a peaceful agricultural world, raised one of her 6 arms. "Admiral Kim, your ships destroyed 6 Vorthak vessels in minutes. Your weapons are clearly more advanced than ours. How do we know you will not use this superiority to conquer us as well?" Admiral Kim had expected this question. "Because conquest was never our goal, Council member. If we wanted to conquer the Federation, we would not have bothered rescuing a single trading ship. We would have simply taken what we wanted." "Then what do you want?" "We want to trade with you. We want to learn from you. We want to explore the galaxy together, and we want to make sure that traders like Captain Veltar can travel safely between the stars." Dr. Kyungmin Yang stepped forward with her research data. "Council leader, may I present my findings about human psychology and motivations?" "Please proceed, Doctor." Dr. Yang activated a holographic display showing the evolutionary history of various galactic species. Most Federation species evolved on stable worlds with abundant resources. When faced with threats, their survival strategy was to avoid conflict or seek peaceful solutions. And humans? Humans evolved on what we call a deathworld, a planet with extreme weather, natural disasters, and dangerous predators. Our survival strategy was to form strong social bonds and work together to overcome threats we could not avoid. Council member Velana looked skeptical. "And this makes humans more trustworthy? It makes human behavior more predictable. When we see innocent beings in danger, we respond the same way our ancestors did when their tribe was threatened. We eliminate the threat and protect the group, even if the threatened beings are not human. Especially then. Our psychology does not distinguish between human innocence and alien innocence. Threat to innocence triggers protective response. It is that simple." Admiral Krextha listened to this exchange with growing understanding. The humans were not like any species he had encountered before. They had the weapons and skills of apex predators, but they used these abilities to protect others instead of conquering them. "Council leader," he said, "may I suggest a solution to the pirate problem in the Outer Rim?" "You may speak. Give me a small ship and a communication array. Let me contact the other raider groups in my sector. I will tell them what I have learned about humans. I will give them a choice: stop attacking innocents or face the consequences. And you believe they will listen? Some will. Others will not. But word will spread about what happened to my fleet. Pirates are practical beings. When the cost of raiding becomes too high, they find other work." Council leader Zephyron considered this proposal. "Admiral Kim, would humanity support such an approach?" "We would prefer to solve problems with words rather than weapons," Kim replied. "But we will back up those words with action when necessary." "And if the raiders choose to test your resolve?" Admiral Kim's expression became cold and hard. "Then they will learn why it is a mistake to prey on the innocent when Deathworlders are watching." The council voted to accept the proposal. Admiral Krextha would be released under human supervision. with the mission of convincing other raider groups to change their ways. Federation and human ships would begin joint patrols of the Outer Rim territories. As the session ended, Captain Veltar approached Admiral Kim. "Admiral, my people owe you a great debt. How can we repay you?" "Help us build a better galaxy," Kim replied. "Teach us about your culture, your technology, your history. Share your knowledge and we will share ours." "Is it really that simple?" Admiral Kim smiled. "The best things usually are, Captain. The best things usually are." 6 months after the rescue of the peaceful Horizon, Admiral Sung-Ho Lim stood on the bridge of the battleship Valiant as it dropped out of hyperspace. Around him, the full strength of the Terran Defense Fleet spread out in perfect formation, 50 of humanity's most advanced warships. "Admiral," reported Captain Young-Suk Bae from the destroyer Vengeance. "Sensors detect a large fleet ahead. 300 contacts and growing. Vorthak signatures." "Yes, sir. But these are different from the raiders we fought before. Bigger ships. Military formations. This looks like their main battle fleet." Admiral Lim studied the tactical display with calm eyes. He had expected this day would come. Word of humanity's intervention in the Outer Rim had spread quickly through the galaxy. Some species welcomed the news that someone was finally standing up to the pirates and raiders. Others, like the Vorthak Collective, saw it as a threat to their way of life. Communications. "Patch me through to the Vorthak fleet commander." The main screen showed the bridge of a massive Vorthak dreadnought. The alien who appeared was even larger than Admiral Krextha, with more scars and battle decorations. His name was Supreme Commander Thokvar, leader of the Vorthak Grand Fleet. "So you are the humans who think you can police our territory," Thokvar snarled. "I am here to teach you the price of interfering with Vorthak business." "Commander Thokvar," Admiral Lim said calmly, "you are in Federation space without permission. Turn your fleet around and leave peacefully and no one needs to get hurt." "Peaceful?" Thokvar laughed. "You destroy 6 of our ships and capture Admiral Krextha, and then you speak of peace? You have made an enemy of the entire collective. Today we will show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose us. Commander, you seem to misunderstand the situation. We did not attack your ships. We defended innocent civilians who were being murdered by pirates. There is a difference. Pirates? Those were Vorthak warriors claiming territory and resources. This is how we have always lived." Admiral Lim sighed. "And that is why we are here, Commander. Your way of living requires other people to suffer and die. That is no longer acceptable." Captain Sang-Woo, coordinator of the fleet's electronic warfare systems, spoke quietly to his admiral. "Sir, I am detecting massive jamming attempts from the Vorthak fleet. They are trying to disrupt our communications and targeting systems. Counter-jamming, already in progress, sir. Their technology is not sophisticated enough to interfere with our systems significantly." On the screen, Commander Thokvar was giving orders to his fleet. "All ships prepare for battle. Show these humans what real warriors can do." Admiral Lim turned to his tactical officer, Commander Min-Jung Lee. "Full defensive formation. Protect the Federation convoy behind us. Rules of engagement are free fire once they cross the boundary marker." "Understood, sir. All ships report ready for combat." The Vorthak fleet began to move forward in a massive line formation, the traditional battle strategy for galactic warfare. 300 ships advancing together in a show of overwhelming force, designed to terrify enemies into surrender. It might have worked against most species. But humans had learned warfare on a world where the environment itself was constantly trying to kill them. They did not fight like ceremonial warriors showing off their strength. They fought like apex predators eliminating a threat. "All ships," Admiral Lim broadcast on the fleet frequency, "execute pattern Delta. Let us show them how Earth's children dance." The human fleet scattered like leaves in a storm wind, breaking their formation and spreading across space in what looked like chaos. But it was controlled chaos, each ship moving to a precise position calculated by the fleet's computers. Commander Thokvar watched in confusion. "What are they doing?" "They are abandoning their formation." "Are they retreating?" "Unknown, sir," replied his tactical officer. "Our sensors are having difficulty tracking them. They seem to be using some kind of stealth technology." "Impossible. Nothing can hide from Vorthak sensors." But the human ships were not trying to hide. They were using tactics developed in hundreds of years of warfare against their own species. Tactics that no alien military had ever seen before. The first strike came from Captain Youngsuk, Bay's squadron of destroyers. They had used a nearby planet's gravity well to accelerate beyond normal combat speeds, then fired their main guns while moving at tremendous velocity. The kinetic projectiles hit the Vorthak fleet with the force of small asteroids. 5 dreadnoughts simply vanished in balls of superheated plasma. Impossible, Thokvar roared. No ship can survive accelerations like that. But the human ships were already moving to their next positions. Captain Unmihan's cruiser squadron appeared on the Vorthak fleet's left flank, having used the system's asteroid belt for cover. Their missile pods launched hundreds of smart weapons that weaved through the Vorthak formation, like schools of deadly fish. Each missile found its target with perfect precision. Each explosion was calculated for maximum damage to enemy systems, while minimizing debris that might endanger other ships. Commander Sang-woo, O's electronic warfare succeeded in turning the Vorthak fleet's own communication systems against them. False orders appeared on enemy screens, causing confusion and friendly fire incidents. Within 10 minutes, the Vorthak Grand Fleet had lost 60 ships and was in complete disarray. "Sir," the Vorthak tactical officer reported, "we have lost contact with the second wave. The third wave is requesting permission to retreat." Commander Thokvar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His massive fleet was being torn apart by an enemy force 1/6 its size. These humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered, with perfect coordination, overwhelming firepower, and tactics that seemed to come from the nightmares of prey animals. "All ships, concentrate fire on the human flagship," he ordered. Every remaining Vorthak weapon turned toward Admiral Lim's battleship. The space around the Valiant filled with energy beams and explosive projectiles, but the human ship simply was not there anymore. It had moved to a new position, using maneuvers that should have killed its crew from acceleration stress. "Admiral," Captain Youngsuk Bay reported, "the Vorthak commander is hailing us. Put him through." Commander Thokvar appeared on the screen, his bridge damaged and smoking behind him. "Human Admiral, I request terms of surrender." "The terms are simple, Commander. Your fleet will power down weapons and prepare to be escorted out of Federation space. Your crews will be treated according to the rules of war. Any ship that attempts to escape or resume fighting will be destroyed. And if we refuse?" Admiral Lim's expression did not change. "Then we will continue this battle until you change your mind, or until there are no Vorthak ships left to fight. Your choice." Thokvar looked around his ruined bridge, then at the tactical display showing his shattered fleet. Of the 300 ships he had brought to intimidate the humans, less than 50 remained combat-capable. "We surrender," he said quietly. As human boarding teams secured the Vorthak vessels, Admiral Krextha's small diplomatic ship arrived at the battle site. He had been negotiating with other raider groups in the sector when news of the battle reached him. "Admiral Lim," he said over the communication link, "I bring word from the Outer Rim Pirate Coalition. They have voted to cease all attacks on civilian vessels and seek legitimate work instead." And what changed their minds? Today's battle was broadcast across subspace. Every pirate captain in this part of the galaxy watched your fleet destroy the Grand Fleet of the Vorthak Collective. The message was clear. The age of raiding is over. Admiral Lim nodded. "Good. What will they do instead? Some will become traders. Others will offer their services as security guards for merchant convoys. A few are asking if they can join Federation or human military forces. And you, Admiral Krextha? What will you do?" The former raider admiral was quiet for a moment. "I have been talking with Captain Veltar about establishing a joint patrol service. Former raiders who know the territory, working with Federation and human ships to protect trade routes. We would use our knowledge of criminal tactics to catch the few pirates who refuse to change. Poachers turned gamekeepers? I am not familiar with that expression. But if it means using former criminals to catch current ones, then yes." 6 months later, Captain Veltar stood on the observation deck of the new Kepler Station defense platform. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from dozens of species moving peacefully through the trade lanes. Human destroyers patrolled alongside Federation corvettes and reformed pirate vessels. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim joined him at the window. "Beautiful sight, is it not, Captain?" "Yes, Admiral. When we sent that distress call, we never imagined it would lead to this." "What did you imagine?" "Honestly, we expected to die alone in the dark. Most distress calls in the Outer Rim go unanswered. People are too afraid or too selfish to risk their lives for strangers. Admiral Kim smiled. Then you had not met humans yet. No, we had not. Tell me, Admiral, what drives your people to help others? What makes you risk everything for strangers? Kim thought about the question, watching a human medical ship dock with a damaged alien freighter. My grandmother used to tell me that there are two kinds of people in the universe, Captain. Those who hear a cry for help and think, someone should do something, and those who think I should do